been told all your life that being good is the right thing to do, that kindness is a virtue, that empathy makes you human. But what if I told you that your goodness has a price, and it's far higher than you think? What if the very trait you've been praised for since childhood is the same one that's silently destroying your power, your opportunities, and your future? Machiavelli understood something most people refuse to admit, that goodness without control becomes a form of weakness. And the world doesn't reward weakness, it feeds on it. You've probably noticed it already. The more understanding you are, the more people take advantage of you. The more you forgive, the less they respect you. The more you help, the more they expect. And each time you tell yourself, it's okay, I'm just being good, but deep down, you can feel it. The slow erosion of your dignity, your strength, your authority. You're not being rewarded for your goodness, you're being drained by it. Machiavelli once wrote, "A man who wishes to be good in all matters must necessarily come to grief among so many who are not good." Think about that. It's not a cynical statement, it's a warning. The world isn't a temple of fairness. It's an arena of survival. And when you show up with a heart that's too open in a world full of predators, you don't get points for purity. You get eaten alive. Goodness, when unguarded, becomes self-destruction disguised as virtue. You smile when you should speak up. You give when you should protect. You endure disrespect in the name of peace. You think silence makes you noble, but in reality, it makes you invisible. Every time you swallow your anger to keep harmony, you teach people that your emotions don't matter. Every time you overgive, you teach them that your value is cheap. Every time you stay when you should walk away, you confirm that your boundaries are negotiable. And here's the brutal truth Machiavelli wanted you to see. Goodness without strategy is the death of power. Let that sentence burn into your mind, because the man who cannot control his kindness will always be controlled by others. You think you're choosing goodness freely, but in reality, your fear of disapproval, your desire to be liked, is what drives you. You're not good because you want to be. You're good because you're afraid not to be. That's the hidden cost. You trade your freedom for acceptance. You trade your voice for harmony. You trade your strength for approval. And you end up wondering why your life feels small, why people don't respect you, why you feel unseen even after giving so much. Machiavelli would look you in the eyes and say, "You've mistaken being harmless for being virtuous." The lion and the fox, he said, both survive because they know when to be gentle and when to be ruthless. The truly powerful man isn't the one who's always kind. He's the one who knows when kindness becomes a weapon against him. The problem is, most people are raised to think in absolutes: good versus evil, love versus hate, light versus dark. But power exists in the gray zone, not the extremes. You can be kind and dangerous. You can be good and untouchable. You can be compassionate and still command respect. But that balance requires awareness. It requires understanding when your goodness serves you and when it enslaves you. Let me ask you something. How many times have you apologized for something that wasn't your fault? How many times have you said yes when you meant no, just to avoid disappointing someone? How many nights have you stayed awake replaying conversations, trying to justify someone else's mistreatment, thinking maybe you were the problem? That's not goodness. That's emotional conditioning. You've been trained to believe that peace is worth more than self-respect. But peace without respect is submission. And Machiavelli warned, the submissive man is loved by no one, not even himself. The shocking cost of goodness is that it keeps you small. It keeps you predictable. It keeps you under control. And in a world built on power dynamics, predictability is death. The man who is always kind is easy to read, easy to manipulate, easy to use. People know exactly how to make you fold, by appealing to your empathy, your guilt, your need to please. And once they find that button, they'll press it every time. This is why Machiavelli believed that to rule your life, to truly own it, you must learn to play both sides of the coin. Appear good, but don't be entirely good. Display virtue, but act with calculation. Show mercy when it serves you and withdraw it when it doesn't. That's not cruelty, that's self-preservation. Because the man who cannot say no, who cannot confront, who cannot draw the line, isn't moral. He's enslaved by his own image of morality. Every empire that fell because it trusted too much in the goodness of others. Every powerful man who lost everything did so because he refused to see evil until it was too late. The modern world teaches you to believe that if you're good enough, the universe will reward you. Machiavelli would laugh at that idea. The universe doesn't care about your intentions. It cares about your strength. And strength is built through awareness, not wishful thinking. The cost of goodness isn't paid in money, it's paid in self-respect. Each time you stay quiet when you should speak, you pay. Each time you let someone cross your boundaries, you pay. Each time you say, it's fine when it's not, you pay. And over time, those small payments accumulate until one day, you wake up bankrupt, emotionally drained, mentally exhausted, and spiritually numb. You've been taught that goodness is about giving. But real goodness, the kind Machiavelli respected, is about discernment. Knowing who deserves your kindness and who deserves your absence. Knowing that mercy must be earned, not given blindly. Because when you treat everyone as good, you lower the value of your goodness. Ask yourself, who benefits the most from your kindness? Is it you? Or is it the people who exploit it? Machiavelli believed that the man who masters power must understand human nature, not deny it. And human nature, he said, is selfish, unpredictable, and driven by desire. To survive in such a world, you can't operate on ideals alone. You must see people as they are, not as you wish them to be. Goodness without realism is naivety, and naivety in the world of power is fatal. That's why Machiavelli advised princes to learn to be both loved and feared. But if they must choose, choose fear. Because love depends on others. Fear depends on you. Think about that. Love requires permission. Fear is in your control. And in a world where loyalty shifts with emotions, control is everything. The modern man, drowning in political correctness and moral confusion, has lost this understanding. He tries so hard to be liked that he forgets to be respected. He wants peace so badly that he forgets to protect himself. He wants to be good, but ends up being weak. Machiavelli's hidden truth is simple yet terrifying. Goodness must be earned, not assumed. It must be directed, not scattered. It must serve you, not destroy you. The world doesn't need more nice men. It needs men who can be good and dangerous, who can hold compassion in one hand and power in the other, who know when to comfort and when to confront. Because here's what nobody tells you. People don't admire pure goodness. They admire strength wrapped in goodness. They admire the man who could destroy but chooses not to. The man who forgives, not because he's weak, but because he knows his strength makes revenge unnecessary. That's what real virtue looks like. The cost of being good all the time is that people stop fearing to lose you. They stop valuing your presence. They assume you'll always be there, always forgive, always understand. And once that happens, your goodness becomes invisible. You must learn to create contrast, like the sun in the shadow. Be kind but unpredictable. Be warm but with a cold edge. Let people feel that your compassion is a choice, not a guarantee. Because when they realize your goodness can disappear, they'll start treating it like gold. Machiavelli would tell you this: control the perception of your goodness. Let the world believe you are virtuous, but keep your claws hidden beneath the velvet. That way, you can navigate both worlds, the moral and the political, without being devoured by either. So if you've ever felt exhausted from giving too much, from caring too deeply, from always being the one who understands, remember, it's not that the world is unfair. It's that you've been playing with the wrong strategy. You've been living as if goodness guarantees safety. But Machiavelli's truth is that safety comes only from strength. And strength is built when you stop trying to be loved by everyone. You don't owe the world your constant kindness. You owe yourself balance. You owe yourself the ability to walk away, to say no, to protect your energy. That's not coldness. That's self-respect. And the man who respects himself radiates a form of power that no manipulation can break. So yes, goodness is noble. But without power, it's fragile. The world doesn't need fragile men. It needs conscious men. Men who know that the most dangerous thing they can be is good, but only when they choose to be. If you're still here listening, then maybe you're starting to see what Machiavelli wanted you to understand. That being good is not the goal. Being powerful enough to remain good, that is. Now, I want you to think about one thing. How much of your goodness was truly a choice? And how much of it was fear disguised as virtue? The moment you begin to see your goodness for what it truly is, a tool, not a burden, everything changes. The world stops being an arena where your virtue is exploited and starts being a stage where your intelligence and strategy dictate your influence. Machiavelli understood that perception is more powerful than reality. People don't respond to what you are, they respond to what they believe you are. Your kindness, when wielded wisely, becomes a weapon. Your mercy, when calculated, becomes a shield. Your generosity, when measured, becomes a currency of control. Imagine a man who always gives. Everyone expects him to give, but one day he withholds. Just once, just strategically. The reactions, the shock, the respect that surges in that silence, that is power. The cost of your goodness doesn't have to be loss. It can become leverage. But only if you stop being naive. Only if you stop confusing morality with weakness. Machiavelli would tell you this. To remain good in a world of manipulators, you must first master yourself. Your emotions, your impulses, your desires, they are the foundation of control. If you cannot command them, you will never command others. And your goodness, no matter how sincere, will be used as fuel to consume you. Do you see now why so many men of noble intent fall? Not because they lacked virtue, but because they lacked boundaries. They gave too much, forgave too freely, trusted too easily. Their hearts were open, but their eyes were closed. And the world does not forgive such blindness. The truly strong man, the one Machiavelli admired, is both feared and respected because he understands timing. He knows when to soften and when to strike. He knows that a gentle word can be more devastating than a sword when applied correctly. And he understands that fear, when balanced with calculated goodwill, ensures that his kindness is never mistaken for weakness. Consider the cost of your current approach. Every time you ignore your instincts to avoid conflict, you pay. Every time you compromise your principles for approval, you pay. Every time you forgive too quickly, you pay. The sum of these payments is your invisibility, your undervaluation, your stagnation. People do not honor goodness that is free, predictable, and boundless. They honor the goodness that commands respect, the goodness that is earned, the goodness that could vanish if misused. This is where most people fail to see the truth. They imagine that being good all the time creates loyalty. In reality, it creates entitlement. They think that everyone will reciprocate their virtues. In reality, most will exploit them. And yet, there is a way to navigate this without abandoning your moral compass. It begins with choice. You must choose when to be good and to whom. You must learn to direct your energy where it creates the most impact, not where it is demanded. Goodness, wielded without discrimination, is like water poured into sand. It disappears without consequence. Goodness, wielded with awareness, is like water stored in a reservoir. It becomes power, life, influence. Machiavelli's secret is simple. Control the flow of your virtue. Make people earn it. Make them aware that your patience has limits, that your mercy is conditional, that your kindness is not infinite. When they sense that your goodness is a choice, they start respecting it, valuing it, fearing the moment it might be withheld. That fear, subtle and silent, becomes the foundation of your influence. You have been conditioned to believe that goodness is unconditional, but unconditional goodness is a trap. It lures the naive into perpetual sacrifice. It blinds them to deception. It chains them to expectations they cannot meet. And the world, merciless and calculating, will not pause to sympathize. Here is the hard truth. You will never be free, respected, or powerful if you do not understand the currency of human behavior. People respond to consequences, not intentions. They react to strength, not sentiment. They respect control, not compliance. Machiavelli would ask you, do you want to be loved by everyone or respected by the right ones? The answer will determine the trajectory of your life. Now let's talk about manipulation. not as a vice, but as a tool of survival. When you understand human nature, you can protect yourself without becoming cruel. You can anticipate the desires of others, the weaknesses they hide, the expectations they project. And then you can choose how to engage, when to give, when to withhold, when to confront, and when to retreat. Every interaction becomes a dance, not a trap. And your goodness becomes the rhythm of that dance, not the chains that bind you. Machiavelli also warns against moral illusions. You may feel virtuous by enduring disrespect, but endurance without strategy is suffering, not morality. You may feel righteous by giving endlessly, but generosity without calculation is naivety. Virtue must be active, purposeful, strategic. Otherwise, it is meaningless. And in a world that prizes outcomes over intentions, meaningless virtue is the highest cost you will ever pay. The man who masters this balance walks through life untouched. He can smile while negotiating, forgive while commanding, love while wielding power. People underestimate him at first. They mistake his calmness for weakness, but they soon learn that his goodness is a force, not a concession. And that realization, silent and sudden, shifts the dynamics of every interaction he enters. Imagine your life if you could harness this truth. No longer drained by endless obligations. No longer manipulated by those who take advantage of your empathy. No longer questioning whether your kindness is worth the cost. Instead, your goodness would be intentional, feared, respected, and valued. You would operate in a zone where morality and power coexist, where your compassion does not enslave you, but elevates you. Machiavelli's hidden truth is that the world doesn't punish you for being good. It punishes you for being predictable in your goodness, for being unaware of human nature, for surrendering control under the guise of virtue. Once you internalize this, everything shifts. You are no longer a victim of your own heart. You are the master of it. You are no longer blind to exploitation. You are the architect of your influence. You will discover that real power does not come from dominance alone, nor from cruelty alone, nor from endless compliance. It comes from awareness, from discernment, from the conscious application of goodness as both a shield and a sword. And the cost of that power? Only your ignorance, your hesitation, and your fear. Once you shed those, nothing, not greed, not betrayal, not manipulation, can touch you. Goodness, when wielded wisely, becomes untouchable. Respect follows. Influence grows. Fear is subtle, loyalty is earned, and your presence becomes magnetic. You are no longer subject to the whims of others. They are subject to the equilibrium you maintain. And that, more than anything, is freedom. Machiavelli's warning was never against being good. It was against being naive, against being predictable, against surrendering your power in the name of virtue. The shocking cost of goodness is high, yes, but the shocking reward of mastering it is higher. So ask yourself, will you continue to be good without strategy, paying the price in invisibility and exploitation? Or will you take control, learn the rules, and wield your virtue as a weapon, a shield, and a currency that commands respect in every corner of your life? Because the man who understands this, the man who chooses wisely, is untouchable, and now you have the choice.